Welcome. This is the Trade Tribe Season 1, episode. What episode are we on? We're on episode 5. 5? Damn, we come a long way. We're on episode 5. I'm still holding that challenge that Hero gave me to get to episode 11. So let's see how far we get. My name is Taufik Suleiman, the student investor. As by no means am I an expert, but every week I'm looking to learn and bring my tribe along. The Trade Tribe is a trading community and show where we learn to trade, share strategies, and contribute to making the tribe wealthier. This show is our take on how we analyze the markets, what we think is going to happen, and how we make plays on that, as well as share our learnings along the journey. Between our trading group chat and our weekly recording calls, we want to see every young adult, a part of our tribe, thrive. So make sure to add us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and any podcast platform at TheTradeTribe. You know, usual disclaimer, none of us are experts, you feel me? And today is going to be an interesting special episode. After we intro the guests on right now, we're also going to talk about a personal topic that hits close to home for me and SARS and things going on in Africa. Then we're going to lighten up the topic with the meme of the week and go into our learnings from the book club segment this week. This is going to be the first book that we've read and have a review on. Then we're going to go to the usual schedule of week in review, week ahead, and our members' picks. Then after that, we're out. So this week, we have myself, Hero, Tariq, and Kachif on the call. And today's icebreaker, after you, of course, you tell us how your week went, is going to be, what are you going as for Halloween? So I can go ahead first. Man, this week has been a crazy week. When I tell you, they're not trying to let a nigga be great. Man, first from a long work week at Microsoft, doing great because I'm contributing, but they started to really put the workload in. I also got into a car accident, and I'm just glad to be alive and to be out here. So if you're having a bad week, imagine how my week is going. And yeah, so besides that, just dealing with a lot of the information and news coming in from Nigeria about SARS and things going on at home, checking to make sure my family is good. And yeah, that's pretty much the highlight of my week. I am down this week due to the market, but you know, with all the bad things going on, we're staying positive. I'm really appreciated to have you guys all on this call and to be talking and still working with you guys, because no matter how bad the week is, it's always a good week, could be a potential good week next week. So that's how my week went. I have not decided what I'm going for Halloween. I'm debating between being one of the characters from Among Us, looking like wear a hoodie and put a face mask on, or I might go, if I can, get like a Naruto styled flak jacket so I can look like Kakashi or something. I don't know. We gonna see. If not, I'm just gonna be a wholesome black man in America.
True.
The fuck?
How about you, Hero?
Man, this week has been, I don't know what happened to this week. I did a lot of stuff, went live with debate. But what y'all do need to know is, be flashing up here, I'm giving away $200 to anyone that shares this video with me and one more person about who to vote for and how to vote. If you're registered to vote and you are voting, you're eligible to win $200 on November 3rd during our live stream. So you can join up with that. Yeah,
Y'all are some big ballers.
And I'm out here gonna send out a challenge to the tribe. You know, feel free to match that if you want to, see the bucket grow bigger. But
how does the match work? The Trade Tribe might be interested. How do we match?
I mean, so I had one person match because at first it started off with a humble $100. Someone saw it and they decided to match me, so now it's at $200. So if you want to match 100, want to match 50, whatever it is, Trade Tribe, you're welcome to match up. But once you match, obviously you can't be eligible. But hey,
damn, I'll win that 200.
We're out here trying to change the world, and sometimes changing the world requires you to be a little less fortunate than the rest. But for those who are blessed, they don't see the issue in that. But if I had to go as anything as for Halloween, I would go as a conscientious person who would wear their mask. Period.
Facts. Wear your mask. COVID is still a real thing. Wash your hands. Use hand sanitizer. All that stuff. How about you, Tarek?
Man, I feel like we've reached the age where we no longer go get the candy, but we be handing out candy. So I'm grown as hell for Halloween. I wish. I mean, I don't know. I always wanted to be Willy Wonka for Halloween. You know, get the whole like you did, like the purple suit and everything. Walk out with a
Look
cane.
like Prince.
Yeah, or Prince. Either way, or pimp named Slickback. I guess it all rolls up into one. No, that's my girl to dress up like a Oompa Loompa. I don't know if she'd like that, but it'd be fun.
Just real quick though, if I was passing out Halloween candy, I'd be the house to visit because when I pass out Halloween candy, I only pass out king size candy bars.
There's got to be king
That's
size.
real.
I'm out here trying to break every one of y'all scrawny ass little bags. Don't you dare come here with your pillowcase. I'm gonna break that shit. Oh, you got a pumpkin head? That shit's gonna snap today. 2 king size Snickers for you, boy. Get off my block.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Man.
I ain't gonna lie, kids gonna hate coming to my house. I don't want no kids in my driveway, man. I'm gonna be handing out rocks, and I'm gonna be that house giving out pennies, bro.
And you gonna be that in eggs too.
Man, I'll give out good advice. Which ain't doing it. You do a
You're
firm
the
handshake, though, man.
favorite person on the block. Well, how about you, Kachif?
Honestly, for Halloween, I'm probably gonna be the same shit, different day guy. You know, like, like,
shit, different day.
like I don't see myself dressing up at Halloween or anything. You know,
Facts.
it's gonna be.
What you gonna be? A real nigga?
Gonna be
the at home doing work guy, I guess.
Facts. But yeah, does
I'm gonna eat some candy though, probably.
Say it again.
I'm probably gonna eat some candy though, of course.
True. Ain't no better way to celebrate. But yeah, so that's our intro and our check-in. Moving on, man, there's a lot of stuff going on in Africa. I guess before I jump in, what do you guys know what is going on so far?
I was gonna say, why don't you start and just give everybody a refresher of what's happening?
Definitely, no problem. So there's a lot of stuff. If you've been paying attention to social media or in the news, it is so much stuff going on all over the world, but especially in the past couple of weeks or last month, a lot of stuff going on in Africa specifically. And the biggest one that has been trending is the hashtag #EndSARS, which is pretty much a hashtag that started to end and combat police brutality in Nigeria specifically. That kind of started basically based off of an incident that took place in early October. Basically, I won't name the person's name, but a man in Delta State of Nigeria had been attacked by SARS. He had been pulled over, arrested by the SARS agent, and shot at. But even worse, they stole his car and went away. I think they abducted him and also took his car. So that obviously shows this foul play at hand. And that video went viral on Twitter. And that's what kind of sparked what hashtag #EndSARS was on Twitter. Basically, it's because people are really just tired of what is going on. And for those that don't know what SARS is a special anti-robbery kind of group within Nigeria. And basically, they were started in the 1990s. They were pretty much created to prevent robbery and a lot of armed, criminal activity, because that was very prevalent then. But it's turned out over the years they've become and replaced the people that they were pretty much targeting. So now they become, starting from as early as 2010, they started becoming notorious for illegal acts such as robbing people, which makes no sense because they were created to prevent robbery. So it's just a lot of crazy stuff. And in 2010, what kind of started was people started really investigating this group. And basically it was found out that the SARS had been taking money from people, adding up to about $60 million worth of bribery a year. That's how much money they'd be making off robbing people at different checkpoints and roadblocks. They've been, investigated by Amnesty International for human rights violations. And that's when the spotlight really got to come like, yo, SARS is a problem and needs to be ended. But no one was having those conversations in 2010. It was just all stuff that was swept under the rug. But slowly over the years, people started to pay more attention like, hey, this is not okay. There's a lot of people being affected. And a lot of people you will meet will have stories. A lot of Nigerians will have personal stories. Like for me, I have personal stories with my family and robbery at gunpoint within your own vehicle on the road. And you hear that a lot of people. Most people have on average 2 to 3 incidents with SARS or with something related in Nigeria. And it's just crazy because it's kind of giving me PTSD to now what's going on to what happened when I was living there. But basically, in 2017, it got to a point where they became banned. So SARS was banned in 2017, but exactly nothing happened. Same thing in 2018. They were supposed to be banned, but the government tried to cover it up and rename the group from SARS to FSARS. It's kind of like a spin-off group, but then it was still kept, I guess, the same thing and nothing really changed. Same thing again happened in 2019. They were supposed to be banned. Nothing happened. And again, which is actually great about how everyone has been protesting and spreading awareness of SARS. Recently, last month, I believe after 2 weeks of heavy protesting and heavy social media outlet and news, the government and interim police officer, I guess the police chief, banned and disbanded disbanded the SARS group. Whether that is true or not, people are not sure of, but on paper, they are disbanded. But a lot of people are very doubtful because this is the same thing they said 3 years in a row. So are they really going to do it? What does it really mean by being disbanded? Because the day after they announced that SARS was disbanded, they created a new group called SWAT. And basically, it's a new group that they're placing the same people in SARS in and just rolling them in this new group called SWAT. And a lot of people are challenging that because if you're going to create a new police system, why using the same people that we're complaining about? So it's kind of counterintuitive. So a lot of the hashtags have kind of evolved from end SARS to end SARS and end SWAT because there's a lot of thing going on that's like, damn, you got to be mindful of like, this is not really going to be the change or meet the demands of what end SARS is. And basically, if you've been following it, there's also been another hashtag called hashtag 505. And basically, that is the specific demands of what people want out of the end SARS movement. So basically, there are 5 asks, which is the immediate release of all arrested protesters, because a lot of protesters were being abducted and arrested despite being peacefully protesting. And that's kind of what led to the massacre that took place at Lekki. So basically, there was a huge protest show in Lekki, which is really close to where I lived in Nigeria. And basically, while they were protesting, the army had pretty much started opening fire in the crowd. And it led to a lot of people being killed. And there's a lot of rumors going around saying that there's more people killed and abducted, but due to the army's intervention, a lot of people didn't know what's going to happen or know the full numbers. So that is a little bit scary. But one of the demands on this 505 is to the immediate release of all arrested protesters, justice for all the deceased victims of police brutality and appropriate compensation for their families, setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of all reports of police misconduct within a certain time period, psychological evaluation and retraining of the disbanded SARS officers, which is really a powerful move because this is going to prevent them from just covering it all up and bringing the same problems from SARS into the new group called SWAT. And lastly, increasing police salary, because a lot of people believe that the root of this problem is because these police officers and members are not being paid enough. So they're resorting to having to find money a different way. So why not charge the people that look rich, which is pretty much how they're profiling people. If you have dreads, if you have a nice phone, you have a nice car, you're automatically assumed to be a fraudster or a criminal, or that's the excuse that they use to rob you and or arrest you as a citizen. So that is crazy to me, but it's really good to like look at the root of the problem, which is low salary for police officers, retraining them so that they're not profiling people such as myself or people around that like us that have nice phones. Like just the fact that you would get arrested just for having an iPhone is terrible, at least in my opinion. And basically that's pretty much all that has happened. Following that, SARS has evolved Well, following that, the power of social media has helped us amplifying our voices and providing updates on what is going on, as well as a huge amount of donations towards this movement. The two main groups that have been coordinating those donations being the Feminist Coalition. If you've seen this logo, it's the yellow background and the fist and the kind of the female symbol. So they're a group that pretty much advocate for women in Nigeria and the challenges they're facing, but they've really become a huge pioneer in this end SARS movement. And they have raised almost 147 million naira, which is equivalent to about maybe 6 million in the US dollars. I can't remember the exact number, but they've been done a great job in raising funds. So if you can, I would recommend you to contribute to these funds being managed by the Feminist Coalition and Floodaway, which is an popular app in Nigeria and in Africa. But I cannot really tell you to go do that because both of these groups are going through challenges with these donations. The Feminist Coalition kind of announced on Friday that they're not accepting no more donations following the president's public statement on this matter. And basically, the biggest thing to take away from what he said is, hey, y'all are making us look bad. Stop going out and protesting, stay in before curfew and do that. And at least that's what I took away from it. You're starting to really see why he was being called a dictator. Because if you remember, back in the day, the current President Buhari, he was actually a military dictator following the independence of Nigeria. So right now, the fact that he's the president is shocking to me, but seeing the way he's reacting and feels emotionally disconnected from the situation just proves how bad the situation is. And I believe they were kind of forced to stop accepting donations because of that. So it's probably not like in the best interest of them if the president is kind of against it, if that makes sense. So it's crazy, but there are still ways you can be involved. The Feminist Coalition has directed that people should donate to these other channels, such as the End SARS response for medical aid for people that are affected by the police brutality in Nigeria, the Legal Aid Network for people to get proper lawyer aid for people that are facing charges, relief for police brutality and families, as well as this End SARS mental health support. These are a couple different channels that you will probably still look into to support. But the biggest thing that is helping is amplifying your voices by retweeting and resharing stuff on stories and things like that, spreading awareness. But besides that, there's so much going on and so much to consume and process with this. Like even outside of this, there's so much stuff going on in other countries. Like in Cameroon, they're dealing with their own crisis. It's pretty much been a humanitarian crisis for the past 4 years. They're calling it the Anglophone crisis because basically they're showing how there's marginalization between Francophone groups and Anglophone leaders. So basically spread awareness for that. There's also a huge movement which is talking about the increase in rape in cases in Liberia. It's under the hashtag Rape National Emergency. So for those that have been paying attention to that, also please go spread awareness about that. And other stuff in Namibia, like Shut It All Down, hashtag Shut It All Down. Basically what's going on there is they're also protesting against sexual and gender-based violence. In Nigeria's hashtag End SARS, of course, and also the Congo. There's a hashtag going around called hashtag Congo is bleeding. And basically what they're saying is that there's a silent Holocaust going on where millions of people are being killed over natural resources. I'm not as informed about any of these other ones, but I've been seeing that, and it's crazy that a lot of these things are not being discussed as much as they need to be, because a lot of these resources, especially in the Congo, are the things that power the stuff that we use, such as our phones and any of our electronic devices. So it's crazy that a lot of people are not being, informed or not speaking about this, especially with things like that. But I can understand because there's so much negative news coming in. And lastly, there's other ones such as child trafficking, hashtag child trafficking, regarding to the cases in Ivory Coast and in Ghana, as well as hashtag Aminex for those in South Africa. But a lot of these things really start to show me the overlap about problems going on around the world. And is a recurring theme such as police brutality, rape and sexual violence, child labor issues and things like that, and just regular homicides or killing. And it's like, at this point, a lot of this stuff needs to stop. And that's just my views about how a lot of people are really just focused on their issues or issues that they're not able to see, or they're starting to see right now, how these are all connected and how these are repeating in different areas. So I would love for people to help spread awareness about all this is going on, so we can build this empathy about a lot of the issues going on and really start to solve them. At least that's where I look at it. And I'd love to hear y'all's point of views on what we can do, what is going on, and just what you think is like the best thing we should be focused on right now.
I think it's super important for you to have context to how things work, because you live there. You just got back recently within the last 10 years, but I've actually been back and forth for the last 10 years. And I
Mm-hmm.
can even remember me as a child, being there, having to pay the the officer who helped us cross the street. He would demand we pay him for it. So even as a children, so this doesn't just affect, teenagers or adolescents or people who you think actually might be causing trouble. And it's also a constant reminder that whenever people say white police officers are the problem, I have to remind them, no, it's people who have the authority to kill you without discretion are the
Exactly.
problem. So I have, and then I use this as an example. But to speak to the end SARS situation, I'm going to push back on the fact that back on the instance of not donating to these causes, because the dictator wants to have his will be made. So if
Yep.
he's saying don't donate to make them look bad, Nigeria looks bad.
Already.
Yeah. So we're not interested in seeing this. And Nigeria has done a great job of making sure that it eats its youth. That's why it's a dying country. And until the youth take back the country, the old guard will have it as the president has the balls to tell you what to do while his children sit abroad, living comfortably and lavishly. So the words of a dictator mean nothing to the broken hearts of the masses, and I wouldn't take it lightly.
And that's actually a great point, because I feel like that is a step that they're really doing to really try to like, I don't know the right word to use, but really prevent the progress that's being made with
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Like you don't go. And I say this all the time. When it comes down to, oh, we should stop burning down Targets. Target don't give a damn about it being burnt down. If Target wants the city to stop burning down, maybe it should call City Hall and tell them to stop killing black folks. That's how it works. So in my eyes, uh, I got this word from my father, and I'll pass it on to the youth and anyone's listening. Kill all the old people in Nigeria who won't let young people be great.
Yep.
Period.
And that's another thing that I've seen as a rising trend with NSARS, about how the young people are not only mad at the police and the government, but also mad at the older generation for kind of telling them, hey, don't go protest, or telling them, hey, don't be involved in this movement. So it's like a lot of conflict, or I guess tension, between those two different groups. Um, I just want people to realize like there is importance in each of this, of each reshare, each protest attendee, things like that. And any donation really, it all adds up, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And yeah, another thing is interesting is, I personally think another reason why this took off, or at least the hashtag took off, is because a lot of tech people and VC people that making big moves in VC are backing this, because these are affecting their personal stakes and investments in these countries. If you've been paying attention, you'd realize there's been a huge amount of investments and money going in and out of Africa and Asia specifically, especially with the new venture capital industries and hubs growing there. One of the main people courting the what's it called? The donations being Flutterwave is a very prominent fintech startup in Africa. So a lot of reasons why these people are being involved is because things are growing. Tech is growing. Their tech workers are being attacked by the SARS agents. So those people, the techies in Nigeria, that are being profiled as fraudsters just because they make a lot of money from these tech jobs, are being affected. So it's like now people like Jack Dorsey is out on Twitter saying hashtag end SARS, which is of course with good intention, but I feel like part of it is because they only care is because they have people working for them in these countries. They have money being involved in the States, because there's been a lot of huge investments. Like I don't know if y'all heard about what happened with Paystacks, or was it Paystacks? They're making like a huge funding round in Nigeria. This has been the biggest VC deal ever in Nigeria. And it's like now these companies care because there's a lot of money or potential for money to be made in these countries. So that's the reason why I think a lot of these people are being involved, and it's sad to see, but I think it's shedding light on an interesting trend that is going on, and that there's a lot of potential for investments in Nigeria. So I think it's better for us, people that are grassroots, people that are living there or having general interest in these areas, to be the ones investing. So I think another way to kind of add to what SARS should be, or any of these police brutality and things are, is to go back and invest and be involved in these deals that are going on. Because if the government and all these single institutions are the ones running that, it's going to leave room for more issues down the line. So that's one of my long-term goals, which is to become a venture capitalist and angel investor, so that I can be involved in these deals and make sure the money that's going towards it is actually having impact for people that live there. So that's just one of my goals, and it'd be interesting to see like what y'all think regarding that.
What exactly is an angel? You said an angel investor.
Investor.
Yeah. So what is it?
So basically, we talk about stocks and options a lot of the time. So basically, a stock is a share of a company that is on the market publicly. So like the Microsofts, the Apples, these are companies that are already public, and they go public via an IPO. But a lot of people don't talk about what happens before that IPO. And basically, before an IPO, a company is still a company, it's still a private company. But how did they start? They typically start out as a startup. And these startups basically just start out as an idea. So for you to go to idea to an official company, you need a certain amount of seed money. And seed money is pretty much the money it takes for you to start and launch from startup, or launch an idea into a full-blown business or startup. That most of the time that money either comes from the founders, and that's called bootstrapping. But a lot more, which is becoming more popular, is they get a lot of money and raise capital. So essentially, when they say raise capital, that means they're raising money to fund the idea to become a business or to grow as a business. And typically, the people that provide that seed money or seed capital are what you call private, called venture capitalists or angel investors. A venture capitalist is basically someone that basically manages a huge amount of money from wealthy people or from institutions like banks, takes that money to find really good startups and invest that money into those early stage startups so that they can grow and become popular. That's pretty much a lot of how most companies like Twitter, Instagram, all these other companies started. They got a lot of money from a huge investor, which is typically a venture capitalist, or an angel investor. And an angel investor is more so an individual that just has a lot of money and is accredited. And that basically means, hey, you have a lot of money, which is confirmed to come from a legit source. And also you'll have like the knowledge to be able to go put your money into like these early, very risky startups. So you have to be an accredited angel investor as an individual to invest in these startups or these companies. And typically that is where the most amount of money being made off these startups comes from. Because think about it. Right now, Amazon is what? $3,000 worth a share. Imagine when Jeff Bezos created that startup and it was probably worth what? 0.01 cents. Right. So as a venture capitalist or angel investor, I could have invested $1 million when Amazon was quote unquote worth this amount and probably equivalent to what? Pennies on the dime. Mm-hmm. And by the time I put my money in there, wait, probably what? A period of about 3 to 10, 20 years when they finally do go public, and now we're valued as $1 billion startup or $1 billion company from that small, probably 100,000 worth that they probably took to invest in the beginning. You would have probably made hundreds to 1,000x times your returns. So that's why that is my long-term goal, because the most of the money made off these companies is made in the private equity, in the venture capital, in the seed raising round. So the only issue is that as you kind of start, it takes a huge amount of capital and a huge amount of, I guess, credit or accreditation for you to become that. So there is a huge barrier to entry, and it's not easy for someone like you or me to just jump into that as it is to jump into stocks. But I hope that kind of answered your question, Tariq.
Yeah, the angel investor, I guess I wasn't familiar with that term. But yeah,
But that kind of talks about my long-term goals, and I hope that answered the question about what an angel investor is. I feel like everyone's goal should be to be an angel investor, because you will really have a stake in these companies that are controlling the world or having huge impacts on the world, basically. And yeah, that pretty much tucks on this special topic about what is going on in Africa. Did anybody have anything else to touch on or want to share, like their personal takes on what is going on, how y'all feel, or what you think is going on?
It seems like you and Hero are very close to this matter. I mean, you guys have personal investment in it. I'm someone who, I mean, my mom's African, but she's from Egypt, and my dad, he's black, but he's from here, so I don't really have any ties to, I guess what you would say, sub-Saharan Africa. But like seeing what's happening, it just looks like what's happening over to here in America with us black folk. It's insane that this is happening across the world, and I think it's great that, I mean, 2020 has been a crazy year, but I'm really glad that all of these things are coming to light, and people like me who didn't even know some of these things were happening. Well, now I have knowledge of it. Now I can, like you said, if we want to get into it, we can start sharing, posting, getting knowledge out, raising awareness, with these grassroots methods. I mean, that's how all change starts, with just word of mouth telling people. So I mean, now that you've told me this, and you yourself have told me where I can go to donate, where I can go to move information, get information. I mean, the situation in itself, you know what I mean? So I really appreciate you educating me on this, and I think it's definitely time for change. I mean, we need change here in America, but I mean, we can't forget, injustices happen across the world, and is there justice if there is injustice anywhere? You know what I mean? So
no, definitely. I love that you said that, because I also love the fact that Nigerians and other Africans were also supporting the Black Lives Matter movement in different areas, and how African Americans and Black people over here are also supporting the End SARS movement and things like that. I think as we're doing that, we need to do more of that. That collaboration is what's going to make the change that we love to see. So it's really good to see like this joint empathy, this joint collaboration, this joint awareness of these different topics, and seeing how like everything's going on, because globalization is a real thing and is a powerful thing, honestly. So I think that's a great point right there.
Yeah, I agree. You touched on the point of globalization. I think that if an economy can be globalized, then social change can also be globalized.
Yep. So I do hope to see a lot of positive stuff in the next couple of weeks regarding these topics. And yeah, that concludes our special topic of the day. On a lighter note, it's time for the meme of the week. And this week we choose where we see a man trying to choose between a red or a blue button. The red button saying overvalued growth stocks, and the blue ones being actual value stocks. And of course, everyone, probably not me, but everyone will probably go for the green. And the average investor newbie will probably go for the red button, because everybody loves their typical overvalued growth stocks. It's fun. It always makes life fun, right? Risk your money on something.
You definitely gonna hit that red button.
Yeah, I'm over here saying probably not me. You definitely jumped into some overvalued growth
the
stocks.
red button, and then at the end of the show, he's gonna be like
on the edge.
Yeah, and then he's gonna be at the end of the show talking about, there were some people who didn't make money this week, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But
Right. But honestly, I really have been a victim of this, investing in like overly valued growth stocks. What would you guys choose, blue or green?
My portfolio is full of blue now, but definitely when I started in, you don't know where to go. You're getting information and from everywhere, and people are like, "Oh, you should do this, do this, do this," and you do it, and then you don't know anything about it. You're new to investing. Yeah, I've definitely been into some overvalued growth stocks, but portfolio full of value stocks, dividend plays. That's it. That's all for me.
Facts. Hero.
It would be condescending for me to say that I go blue. The fact that I scraped from off the top of these more expensive red button stocks is just further proof of my indecisiveness in the stock market. If it makes money at the time, it's a great decision. The moment it makes bad, the moment I lose money, I'm over it.
Facts. How about you, Chief?
Yeah, I'm hitting that red button.
I love the transparency. Like you're not hiding. But yeah, that is the meme of the week. Please click on blue and not red. But I know some of y'all still gonna choose red. I know I'm still gonna choose red once in a while. But we live and we learn.
We all can't be the same.
Exactly. But speaking of learn, this week's book club segment is touching on chapter 1 of a book called Calculated Risk by Kevin Trades. This is someone that I follow closely. He's a great person to learn from about stocks and options specifically. If you have not gotten this book, you can go check out his website, kevintrades.com. There is a discount promo going on. You get a discounted price for $42 instead of the retail price of $100. We also have our own special discount code, which is TradeTribe. So you can get 50% off your order if you do that. And yeah, so the discount code is TradeTribe. No spaces, all caps. Regardless if you put it all caps, it will still work. And I feel like most of us has had a chance to read this book within the tribe. And some of the takeaways are on the slide as you see right here. But I feel like it was a really great intro to what stocks is, the first chapter, and just talking about a lot of stuff that is really valuable. I think it's a lot of fundamental stuff that a lot of people don't pay attention to, but it's very valuable. So I guess I'll let someone else start with what their key takeaways are. What about you, Hero?
The thing that you'll get from chapter 1 for sure is going to be that if you have any fundamental breakdowns, if there's something you don't fundamentally understand about the stock market, if there's something fundamental you don't understand about how to, handle your money in that aspect, this is your breaking point right here. You need to make sure you understand these fundamentals, because after this, chapter 2, 3, and 4, they immediately go into the book as if you understand this passage. While it is easy to digest, I discourage you from reading or skimming through this as if you have a understanding. Make sure you do have an understanding.
Definitely. I'll start off with some of the basic stuff and give like a general overview for those that have not seen it, and feel free to ask questions along the way. So we start off in the book talking about choosing a platform or brokerage platform. And the biggest thing to take away is that every platform is different. There are a different set of features and a different learning curve for each one. A lot of people are going to recommend stuff like TD Ameritrade, Robinhood, E-Trade, Tastyworks, things like that. You've probably heard of all of them, but the biggest question is, which one do I choose? So this book gives a really good breakdown of what the pros and cons of each one is. I did see a little bit of bias and favor, not only bias, but favor towards TD Ameritrade, or specifically the Thinkorswim platform. That is my favorite too. So I do agree with what they said about it, because it's really hard to find a platform better than TD Ameritrade, because they provide you a lot of tools, a lot of things for free and things like that, and great customer service. But there are a couple other ones like Tastyworks that are also definitely recommended for active and very serious traders, such as Tastyworks, Robinhood more so for the beginner, as well as E-Trade as well. Also a great beginner one too. And yeah, that was the biggest first takeaway. There was the next section, which kind of talks about the basics of stocks. What is a stock? What is the difference between common stocks and preferred stocks? And how do dividends work? So Hero is a huge dividends person, so he will attest and agree with some of the things that are in this book. And the next part, which was actually probably my favorite part of this chapter, they gave you an understanding of how to do basic stock research. They teach you, what I learned about it was asking the right questions and understanding the connecting factors about stocks, because something just as simple as the location of where this company is can change the dynamic of what the stock is going to do for real. And I've seen it, such as when in Tesla, if you paid attention to what was going on, there was a period of time when California recently, I think they put a ban, or they put out news about banning gasoline cars for a while, and that affected the Tesla stock price because they're an electric vehicle company in California. So that just makes them more attractive. So stuff like that is stuff that you can learn from this chapter. Other questions that are great to ask for equity research is, what does the company do? What do they manufacture? How many factories or things do they have, and where are they located? So the importance of the geographic presence. Are they running at full capacity? what kind of raw materials are required and how are they dependent on those raw materials. So stuff such as even using Tesla as an example, people were shorting, I believe, lithium mining stocks, because I think news had come out that something regarding Tesla needing more lithium or not having enough lithium for their batteries, and stuff like as simple as going down to the materials can affect the stock price or give you signals onto whether this is a good buy or not. Also, who are the end users? What are the company's clients? Who are the competitors? So understanding who is making money within each industry and who are the competing and who's dominating. Those things could really tell you. And there was actually situations, I think I remember one point in time when Tariq was telling me about a competitor company, about a stock that I was looking at. And just by you telling me that, I switched from investing in that company I was looking at into the other one. I can't remember what it was. I don't know if you remember when that was, Tariq.
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
I think it was when it was comparing either Square and PayPal or something. I was looking at Square, but I think you had mentioned something about PayPal as a competitor and why I should invest in PayPal instead of Square, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's vaguely familiar. I champion PayPal.
That's your choice, your member pick of the week.
I would champion PayPal too if it was $100 and 100% increase.
Facts. Well, that was a great point about and like it was great that was something that adds personal experience within the tribe, because asking that question could make a huge difference in how much money you make versus which one is a better choice to invest in. Other things they touch on include the different stock sectors. If you're not familiar with what a sector is, it's basically just the highest tier of how they group stocks or group of companies based off economic characteristics, such as what does that company do. So some of the major ones being like the finance sector, the utility sector, the consumer and discretionary sector, and things like that. So it's very important to know the difference between these different stock sectors and stock industries, and understand and familiarize yourself with how they work or how they typically react to stuff that goes on like news, and what are they dependent on. So for like something the book touches on is about how the financial sector, typically they are dependent on the revenue that they generate from mortgages and loans. Utilities, they're a little bit safer because they have recurring income from charging consumers and businesses. Other ones like energy tends to do well when the price of the crude oil, natural gas, and other commodities is doing well. So understanding how these sectors are affected by simple things like that goes a long way. Other stuff they talk about was also paying attention to how a stock performs and their earnings report. And that would actually be a great segue into what we're looking at this week later on. So it's very important to pay attention to stocks' earnings report and how they perform. If you're looking at a stock, did they do well the past 3 earnings? So are they making more money? Are they beating their earnings expectations? And lastly, the last part of the book, kind of that chapter, touches on different types of investors and traders. But I won't go over that because we pretty much cover the same thing on episode 3. So if you want to know the difference between scalpers versus traders versus momentum swingers, definitely check out episode 3 of this podcast. And yeah, also another thing they touch on into, or I guess segue into for the next chapter, was an intro to technical analysis. So they talk about how you can use technical analysis to reveal insider information. But the biggest quote I can take from this was that typically a lot of the stock price of a company has 2 things baked into already. Stuff that is going on that's public information, as well as stuff that people are not aware of, such as insider information. And typically institutions that do have that insider information are making plays on it. So what the price that you see at the moment is a reflection of both stuff that the public knows, but also on another level that a lot of people don't realize, insider information that most institutions know ahead of the public. So it's good to use technical analysis to read that from those the news, because the news can be super overhyped and it can really disenfranchise any fundamental analysis that you do. So it's good to know how and why a stock is moving up using both a combination of technical and fundamental. And basically that covers that book. I don't know if anyone had questions. Tariq, Kachif?
For myself,
No, I don't.
Oh, my bad. I think the biggest thing on this page is that discount price of $42 from $100. Yeah, I definitely need to get this book. That's insane that you were able to get that.
Yeah. Once I
Like
saw it, I hopped on
Yeah,
it.
I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yep. It's available in the Discord. So if you are in the tribe, the Trade Tribe Discord, the book is available in there. So that's a benefit of being in the tribe. We share resources, but we also make sure to support these people that are providing information like that. So I can definitely check into the group and make sure y'all gotta have access to that copy. And yeah.
Yeah, I have a few reference books. So I guess the first question, or my question for this would be, is this more of a book that you read once and then or would you describe it more as a reference book? So you're living your life and something happens in your life and then you can refer back to this book. Would you recommend it more like that?
I would say for chapter 1, I think it's more so of one you can read once and just automatically know it once in a while. But when I kind of took a glimpse into the later chapters, and I definitely think it's the second option that you mentioned, where it's something you can go back and reference when it goes. Because in later chapters of the book, they go over like, hey, in a choppy market like where we are right now, or if this happens, this is what you should do, if that makes sense. They go that detailed and tell you, hey, if you're in this scenario, do this. So if I was to go back and I was finding, I think this book touched on that scenario. Let me go back and check what it said I should do or reference that. I think this is a great book that kind of something that you have to check in on every while. So I'm going to keep a copy of this book and always look at it once in a while because I feel like there's a lot of things to learn, such as recognizing different kinds of patterns, what to do in specific scenarios. And that's one of the things I really like this book because it doesn't give you all the fluff of, what is the basics of a stock? Of course, in chapter 1, they touch on that. But in the later chapters, they tell you no bullshit, no cut the crap. What do you do and how do you trade? And that's something I really like about this book.
Yeah, I said that after, like, I immediately took the mindset of, man, okay, yeah, I'm gonna look at this book. But when I went to book 5, chapter 5, it seems like
I think it was chapter 3.
kind of referenced chapter 3. It referenced like stuff from chapter 2 that I had skipped over because I thought it was BS, and I immediately found myself regretting it. So it makes great reference to, and it sets the question up for it to be answered, which is what we really want. We want the an answer to the question.
Exactly, and that's something I really loved about this book, and I'm really glad we chose this as the book for this week. This chapter for the week, and possibly using the next few chapters for the next segment. So I think this would be a great read for anyone that is looking for straight, quick, actual answers to the questions that we typically have as beginning investors or traders. And yeah, so that pretty much, if no one has any other questions or things to touch on that pretty much concludes our book club segment of the week. Any questions, Kachif, Tariq, Hero?
You answered mine.
Dope. And if anyone else has questions that's listening to this, feel free to comment under any of our posts. Send us a voice message, send us a message or DM, and start the discussion. This is something that we love to do and get other people's insights on. And yeah, as Tariq said earlier, it has been a crazy week. It's so much stuff that has happened. And it's crazy. This has probably been the quietest period in the Trade Tribe in terms of results from our plays. But just to start off, we did launch the podcast officially on all platforms. We dropped a trailer, so we really appreciate all the great feedback and comments from people and supporters. This is something that is very important and special to me, and I feel like it's special for every one of our tribe members because this is changing the narrative for people like us. This is changing the game, and this is the revolution we love to see. So yeah, we did launch that, so go check out the website, check out us on Anchor. We are available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And yeah, if you haven't, follow us on Twitter and Instagram too. Other stuff that's happening, I did notice that there was a forming pattern on the SPY. If you look at what is going on, you'll see that the SPY on the 5-minute chart is forming a descending triangle. So if you don't know what that is, I'm gonna go ahead and show that real quick. I brought it up as a call out this week earlier when I noticed like something forming. Let me see if I can find that in this.
I think it might be in news.
Yeah.
Oh, stock chart.
Yep. So I'm personally working on my charting methods and improving on my technical analysis. So it was interesting to say I was able to spot this. If you look at it, SPY hit a high of $354, but then slowly starts to decline above a support level of around $343, and it's been kind of maintaining that, but slowly still staying within this triangle. So I believe on Monday or Tuesday, the stock could either go up, which I think is most likely going to happen, bounce off this support level and start to shoot back up with the trend, or based off all the stuff going on with the election, I think there's a possibility it could go down. But the interesting thing is really reminiscent of this basic stock pattern, which is the bullish descending triangle. And as you can see here, it looks a lot similar. It goes up, then bounces up and down between the triangle and the support level, but then shoots up based off impulse. So I'm thinking that some news might spark this impulse either on Monday or Tuesday, but it's something I will definitely pay attention to with the week going up. And yeah, besides that, I think it's been interesting seeing that the market is refusing to fall below the 342 level, the 343 level. And I'd love to get y'all's opinion on what that could be, because basically I'm thinking that with the news coming in about the COVID economic stimulus, people are still trying to have faith, but waiting to see what happens.
You, this is from a behavioral standpoint. This is not based on numbers. This is not based on anything other than the behavior of people and social economics.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be crazy. Right now, there is snow on the ground in Nebraska, meaning there'll be snow in one of the top five biggest cities in the world, uh, in the country, which is Chicago. Uh, you have to be silly to think that the market is going to sustain itself. I have a put in already for two of my trades, and I'm also prepared to see the backlash wave of any fallouts from this week. If we don't get another, if they'd be better off not even bringing up talks of the aid. If you're not going to do it, don't bring it up because the market reacts too much to it. And the fact that 54,000 new cases have been added to the COVID spike, you know the last time that happened? April. Go back in April and tell me what the market looked like the day after that report. We're in for a downfall.
Yeah,
And that's a great point, but that's the thing. The stock market doesn't make sense. That's what a lot of these politicians are doing. They're kind of putting news out to keep sentiment of people up and the stock market up. So I can see it if they put some news out and then the market doesn't crash like it should really. So for me, I'm a reactive person. I'm gonna react to what people are thinking. Other people's reactions is what moves the market. So if I can play their reactions, that is the goal, really, not to kind of like, because really the stock market doesn't do exactly what really it should be doing, honestly.
But and you're right. You're right. It doesn't. But that's not a reason. If the stock market wasn't doing what it's supposed to do because no one had ever survived a pandemic while in the stock market. But this is what we call full circle theory. We experienced this. We were on the uptick. Things were opening. Things were getting better. And now we're heading back into winter. We've seen this story. It behooves you not to prepare for winter just because you're not sure how cold it's going to be.
That's
yeah,
real.
I gotta agree with Hero. I mean, this is what I've been. So Taufik, I know you're really into statistics and numbers, and that's the best thing. I when I started off, I was never into looking at trends and things like that. I was just going based off of behavior, how people actually work, what's going to happen in the world that we live. Back in July, I was saying that come around election time, there's going to be a huge drop off. I still believe that. That's why I've really kind of just been waiting for this election to be over. Once we get past that, there's still going to be drop off, and we're not going to come back up until December, going into the new year. Even then, that'll be a maybe. That's when I think it will be coming up. But yeah, I've honestly, I mean, myself, and I feel a lot of prominent investors are waiting for this fall off come around election season. I mean, I think I said this in a few episodes before, but Warren Buffett told us that, oh yeah, there's going to be a catalyst come November with the election. It's just going to be a huge drop off. So I mean, everyone's just sitting around in a cash position waiting for that drop off to happen, and that's when we're gonna buy. So I mean,
Yeah.
you could be optimistic, but also be smart with it. You know, numbers don't tell everything.
No, definitely. And what you said is exactly right, because that's all the news has been about. Like, as you said, the market's going to start selling off close to elections. That is what happened starting last week. The market started selling off. Like, it started declining and forming that descending triangle pattern. Like, it's stuff like, it's crazy how accurate we are, because these are the things that are really affecting. And we talked about that on the last episode. So it's interesting seeing, because really the things moving the market right now are the election, as you said, the increasing number in COVID cases, and this postponement on the stimulus relief from the government. And it's crazy because a lot of people are starting to say, like, yeah, the stimulus talks is just being stalled. Like, it's probably not going to be any actual offer or any decision until after the elections. And I think that's real. So once that really,
It's absolutely. I would almost say this up front. Okay, if me and Tawfiq were in a race, and it just so happened I was racing in some Nikes, and we were both racing in some Nikes, but Homeboy was offering Tawfiq them Sonic shoes, I'm not letting Homeboy give him them Sonic shoes because he's going to beat me. So why would the Democrats sitting across from the Republican incumbent be like, yeah, Trump, put your name on these checks and pass them out to every single American in the country? The checks are political football. So if it means if you like, and it sucks to say this, but let's keep it real. The Democratic Party is okay with watching a few people die for the greater cause. And that's what's happening right now.
That's real. That really is real, and it's crazy. Like, this is just really just for them to see, okay, what can we use to swing more votes in our favor?
Yeah. I mean, and this is not letting the Republicans off. They should have passed the bill 6 months ago, 3 months ago. They should have made a bill where every month we were getting a check, but they didn't do that because, you know, they're nihilist, syndicalist type people. They don't believe in really helping people. Mm-hmm. So as Democrats, as a Democratic voter, I see the problem there, but I also see the issue. I see the good in it, but I also see the issue. I mean, and I can be frank with that. You know, I can be honest with myself about that. But I understand it's the checks are political football, but you have to be insane as a Democrat to sit at the table now, because you know in 3 months decisions will be made.
Yep. And that's definitely facts. So what do you think about, speaking of parties, what do you think about the second presidential debate that took place this week?
Once again, it was a definitive win for Biden, but the best thing that happened in that debate was the mute button, because the fact that seriously, the fact that Trump could be muted at any point gave him this appearance of civility. But what you really have to pay attention to is two major things. One, Biden has officially taken over Obamacare by calling it Biden Care 2.0. He's claiming Obamacare, so he's made his staple what he is going to be concerned about in this election. And there's no bigger thing to be concerned about with this new election when 240,000 people have died from a disease than healthcare. Amy Coney Barrett is going to be certified on Monday, tomorrow, so on the Supreme Court. So all these cases in the elections from here on out will go to the Supreme Court, and they'll have a leaning conservative lean. So if he wins, it is up to him now to correct the judicial balance. I'm okay with him packing the courts. I'm okay with him ratifying Biden Care 2.0. Legalize all the goddamn drugs. Him being president doesn't directly affect me because I don't do drugs. I work in a hospital. All my health care is free. And I'm not a woman. I'm lucky. But I do vote with the masses and the people less fortunate than me. And that's why I vote Democratic. So if you're being honest, if we're being honest with ourselves, if you're still undecided, you probably wear the wrong shoes to work every day too. So I'm not really concerned about you, but I will compel to you and say this. If you don't know who to vote for, you have a luxury. If that is your luxury, then start thinking of people less fortunate than you. If you call yourself a person of the universe, if you believe in doing right unto others, if you're actually concerned about the less than crowd, ask yourself, what would a single mother of 2 kids working minimum wage want you to do? And if you still don't have the answer, my suggestion is you go up to Albuquerque Turn and jump off the Grand Canyon.
Facts. And I guess asking the question that probably everyone is thinking is, how can we make money off of this? Like, what is the place to make? How is this going to affect the market?
I mean, do we know who's who? You know, insurance companies love Biden, so anything with healthcare, you'll be winning if you pick Biden. And you know, there's a certain straight line of energy and ETFs that run with Trump. But if you run with Trump, you know this country is not going to open up for another 6 years.
Yep. That is fact.
So you got to ask yourself, like, even if you want to make money off this, before you can make money, you got to make sure we have money to make. If the country implodes on itself, we're screwed.
Facts. A lot of people started saying it might just be the end of society after the new elections, but we're gonna see.
Hero definitely touched on some points, man. Like, I don't think people have understand during Trump's administration, so much money has been printed.
Yeah.
I think the most money has been printed during his years, but the majority of that money has just been going straight to the top. So everyone up there has just been eating and eating more, and that's why our dollar is crippling. We don't have a whole lot of progression going on. We don't have moves toward technology going on because of the state of our culture under Trump. Now, I don't know. I normally don't get into I mean, I know about politics and everything. I don't like to get into conversations with people because people, get all up in their feelings. But I mean, there's only one logical option. If you're American and you truly want to see us progress through the years, there's only one logical option. Like, we need to get this man out of office.
But Turk, I'll go a step further. It can't be logical at this point. It has to be a civic duty, a moral duty. You have a moral obligation, to preserve life, because you have to remember 240,000 people died of COVID. And I'm going to be gracious here. I'm going to be gracious and say 30% of those people who died because of because they directly believed that they were invincible due to their president. This is the simplest way of putting it. One presidential candidate caught COVID. The other one didn't. Which one you gonna pick?
Honestly,
that's facts.
That's honestly a strong statement. That's a strong fact,
man.
But I guess just to stay on topic, those are most of the stuff that happened this week, and it's going to be interesting as we talk into the next segment, weekend ahead, about how this election is going to affect the market. But I guess sticking to in review, other stuff that happened. Snapchat went on a huge winning streak this past week. They're finally above.
Are people still using Snapchat? What is going on?
The younger generations are still using Snapchat because basically Snapchat had their earnings report last week, and the biggest thing to take away from that is they're hitting all-time high revenues and profits, and also huge daily active user and user numbers. So those are promising numbers that kind of caused Snapchat to launch that rocket up that high. So it's giving a lot of, I guess, a lot of positive impressions of Snapchat itself, as well as the social media sector as a whole. So you see stocks like Facebook, Snapchat, and other stuff like that doing well. But it was interesting. I caught me 5 shares afterwards, and I'm currently up 12%. So I might hop out of that once the pullback comes in or decide to go in. But I think Snapchat will be a long-term hold because they've been working on a lot of stuff. They're investing in AR, VR technology, which is going to be a huge market later down the line when that becomes more handy. But it's already affecting things now. So stocks to definitely keep an eye out of Snapchat. They're on a streak right now. Their price is finally above IPO levels. They were struggling to keep above it because the IPO recently at $25, but they fell below it post IPO. But they're now finally back starting last week. So I think that's a positive signal to them being on an uptrend and just going up from here. So I think Snapchat is just straight up from here. I got me 5 shares, but that's my own personal bias, I guess. But yeah. Another thing is that Bitcoin as well hit an all-time high, I guess. So this is not the all-time high. Is this just a new recent high of $13,000 per whatever they call it for crypto? That was something that's popped on my radar. I was like, oh, wow, people are still into this. And there's a lot of stuff going on with the cryptocurrency world right now.
Dude, crypto is not going away anytime soon. Eventually, world governments will start transitioning to it. If you're not in crypto, get into some crypto immediately.
I definitely agree with that. It's definitely something I definitely want to learn more about. But the biggest question is when. It's not really on how is it going to be safe, just when. And how do you get involved in it? Where do you find that?
It's just like with any stock. You just got to buy it first off. First and foremost, you got to buy it. And if you take an L, you now know where the low is. You take a high, you now know where the selling point is. But for my endeavors into crypto, the immediate thing that I learned was it's a try hard stock. It's a try hard type thing because it looks different. It's neon. It glows. It fucking runs all damn day. You can be making money while you sleep. It's a little bit overcharging.
You start to sound like the Forex scammers.
Yeah, exactly. It pops off like that, and you're just like, okay, all right, we get it. But like, just grab some, and as the peaks go, scrape off the top. You can treat it just like that.
Yep, it's definitely, in my opinion, a scalping mechanism for sure. But yeah, so that's pretty much the week in review. We do have a new member who is on the call right now. His name is Kachi. Definitely feel free to introduce yourself.
I think he fell asleep.
I'm here. Hey everyone, I'm Katif. Katif for all. Kind of just started investing. Well, like I started a year ago, but I just got back into like options and stuff recently. But yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to getting it busting, making some money.
Dope. And I'll ask you a personal question. What do you think of the Trade Tribe so far? Just real quick summary.
I think you guys will get me in the right track, for future references, what I'm trying to do with it. So I think you guys will get me started.
Perfect. We'd love to hear all the.
I have a question. Have you sent your $50 to each founding member so far?
Nah, I didn't hear about that one. I'm supposed to get $50.
I don't know about this one.
You know, there's a lot of people come to the trade. A lot of people come to the Trade Tribe, man. A lot of people leave too.
Nah, I'm staying, man. I'm here.
That's what we love to hear. But finally, results from members picks for the past few weeks. One of our members was able to make 100% profit off a PayPal call. So that was exciting. Hero specifically has made about 5% off his stocks in AT&T. He was swinging that for a couple of months. But the biggest thing was that he also got, along with that 5%, dividends. So that's two profits right there in one. Also, Apple stock, I believe Tarek sold his off. Or I think you got stop lossed out, but you still made 12% off of the Apple.
Oh no, I sold it. There was things that happened in life. But can we go back? I want to talk to Hero about dividends. Because I live and stand by dividends. Anyone who gets in the stock, the first thing I say, make sure you get stocks that have dividends. What do you think about them?
So I live off of dividends in the fact that I have an account. When I started my account, everybody knows this. I started off my account with $15.34. Now I have two accounts with $1,000 in them each. And
say that again for the listeners again. Like, I don't think people understand when you say you can start an account and make money from nothing, from zero. So can you please say that again so that the listeners could hear you say that?
So when I first started this, I remember I've always dealt with stocks. But when I first started, I said to myself, if I'm going to do this, I'm only going to do this with the money I have in my house. And I gathered up everything out of the couch, everything from pockets, change in my pockets, went down to the bank and deposited was $15.34. I then took that money, started a Robinhood account, got a free stock for $2.44. And from there, in the last 6 to 8 months, I've now split the account into two different accounts, one in TD Ameritrade, one in Robinhood, and they're both at $1,000. a big part of that is because I'm a swing trader, but the biggest part of that is because I've been paid dividends 4 separate times by 18 different companies in the last 8 months. And the dividends that I've made is a big contribution into the money that I've made. So the thing that I really want to stress about dividends is you have to know two things: when the lock-in day is and when the drop-off day is. The day you get paid your dividends is the day you sell all your stocks, unless they're showing progression of positivity, and then you buy the dip. And from that point on, you're scraping off the top day in, day out. You always have 3 stocks in rotation, and you're always scraping off the top. It's meticulous, it's tedious, it's annoying, but I don't have $1,200 to put on a Microsoft option. I don't got a chance to buy PayPal with 100% option. I don't got that type of luxury. I lost $600 once, and that was enough for me. And dividends cannot be taken away from me. They can't take it from me. I can't lose. So why would you play? Why would you play any other game if you can't lose?
Right. I think we just need to stop the episode right there. Like, that's huge. Like, we just need to end the season. That's the end of season 1. We're done. We did our shit. Like, you can't top that. How else do you top that?
No, I mean, you guys are way better. You guys are way better at the day in, day out type stuff. And I think that's one, admirable, and two, it's to be acknowledged. But I think you have to be very clear with people. Some people watching this, I don't want y'all to be watching this thinking, damn, these dudes sitting on stacks. Yeah, we sitting on stacks, but you can too. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to sell. You don't have to sell your house to do it. Like, I'm sitting here cooking brown rice. Get the hell out of my way. Like, you don't have to do it the hard way.
I love how you said, yeah, you're right. We are all sitting on stacks. Just to correct yourself. Like,
your story is that's it. Because I did the exact same thing. Going into the couch, looking for change here, starting with that free Robinhood stock, and just from there building an empire. I try to tell people, they're like, I need $1,000 to start. I'm almost waiting until I start working. I'm like, man, all you need is, you don't even need anything because you get a free stock. You can start with the free.
Like, you got to grind. Like, that initial capital, it doesn't matter where you get it from. As long as you have something to put in, you can make money. Sometimes you don't need anything at all. You can start with 0, get referrals, get free stocks. Weeble's giving out 6 free stocks per referral. So there's really no excuse. Like, there really is.
Whoa, wait.
Yep.
What?
Like, they've been giving out free stocks. So if you get a referral, you can get 6 stocks off 1 referral, I believe.
This
so
is
it's
Weeble.
crazy. There really is there's no excuse to like not get into investing. And like, for me, and I can understand, I'm on the opposite spectrum as Hero, where he started by scrounging a couple cents and stuff around. For me, I started by kind of doing similar. I door dashed to get a lot of the initial capital. Like, I had a car, went door dashing, put my money into my Robinhood. I got my refund check. I was still in college then. I used my refund check. I didn't spend none of my refund check from school on anything besides putting it into my Robinhood account. I had to go find a high-paying internship, get a high-paying job, use a lot of that money. The difference between someone that's making a high amount of money and low amount of money, y'all get spending the same amount. So that extra money should really go into your investment accounts. And that's what I did. So I am a little bit more fortunate where I could like go get a high-paying job and use the money from there. But I also had to like do the same things that Hero did. Like, you have to be scrappy, you have to be savvy. Use your resources, use the things that you can to grow your wealth, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, it's not beyond you. Trust me, it's not beyond you. Looking at us and gee Willikers, Batman, I wish I could make money. Go fuck yourself.
Oh yeah.
We were saying G Willikers, Batman.
Pretty much that really covers the week in review. A couple of my stocks hit their stop losses. Again, recurring theme: tight stop losses, lock in profit, cut your losses short. So some of my stocks that stopped out were Carvana, Palantir, and Asana. I will keep paying attention to this the week moving forward, and that goes into our week ahead segment. Not much stuff to look forward to besides about 40% of the market, public stock companies traded, revealing their earnings for this past quarter. So I said it again, 40% of the companies. So there's over 100 companies doing earnings this week. A lot of huge headliners like Chegg, Alphabet, Microsoft, AMD, Fiverr, Sony, Visa, UPS, Shopify, Twitter, Apple, Amazon, Facebook. So many big hitters this week. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the market. It's probably going to be overwhelmed to keep track of all of them, honestly. But I'd love to hear which top 2 that you guys are looking at. So we can start with Tariq.
Oh man, I've been talking about Fiverr for the longest. I just started using it this year, and I love Fiverr. I mean, it's been growing all year. I still use it. I'm still on Fiverr for all.
Who put you onto it?
You put me onto it.
Yeah.
Definitely told me. Yeah, Taufik, he was like, because I was working on my anime. I was working on my anime, and I needed some artists, and you were like, man, you could just go on Fiverr. I'm like, what Fiverr? Pulled it up. All of a sudden, a whole bunch of art, everything that I needed right on this website. I love Fiverr. They have so much more stuff. I started referring my friends on using it, so they use it for their endeavors, for everything they need, everything from music to writers, artists, anime, whatever you need. Fiverr has a freelancer on it, and I have friends who do freelance through Fiverr. So now they're putting their business on Fiverr. Everything about it I love. So that is my biggest pick. I'm definitely looking forward to looking for the earnings call. I think it's going to be great.
And this sounds like a typical ad or a commercial for Fiverr, but just to let people know, we are not sponsored or being sponsored by Fiverr. We would love for Fiverr to sponsor us.
Yeah, but say I wish, man, I could put the logo right here on my forehead if I could. I love Fiverr, man. I'm always on there every single day.
Facts. I think they're a great service or platform. To me, I think Fiverr might be the next Shopify, the same way Shopify was kind of like the next Amazon. So those are 2 that you should definitely look at. Fiverr, Shopify, and Amazon.
Fiverr, Shopify, and Etsy. Those are the big 3 I would recommend to anybody. Those things are, and especially we talked about this in a different episode, as our culture starts moving toward, people just being at home and people moving into more entrepreneurial roles. They're going to be using all 3 of these to start moving out their business. So highly recommend Fiverr.
Facts. And Fiverr, they're having their earnings on Wednesday, October 28th in the morning before the market open. Etsy, they're having their earnings report that same day, but in the afternoon after the market's closed. Shopify, they're having their earnings the morning before the market's open on Thursday, and Amazon that Thursday evening after the market closes. So those are definitely some. What about you, Hero? What are some that you're looking at?
So I have decided to take the high road 2 weeks prior to the election, just out of precaution and also because of my memory from the last election. I'm prepared. I'm $800 in, prepared to buy a big dip of anything that dropped 20% in a day or 5% in a day. I'm looking to buy big on that. If I had to pick something, I'm going to stick with the stuff that I know survived the pandemic. AT&T didn't let me down 4 months running. I'm going to stick with that. So I'm waiting for that big dip to buy back in. But I am a pessimistic hopeful that AMC is going to come back for me. I see it. I have 100 shares. I'm going all in, and the first goddamn superhero movie to come out is going to help bring back my fucking account, and I can't wait.
Is there any news about the theaters?
Only that when Disney started talking about going 100% streaming and closing 2 pillars of their account, their stock dropped 4%. I want people to doubt the movie theaters. As long as the laws don't change, I stand to make money, because there's Disney cannot create a movie theater and only show Disney movies. It's a monopoly thing. So as long as Regal, AMC, and the other one don't shut down, don't go bankrupt, I stand to make money, and I'm banking on it.
Facts. But you made a great, interesting point about like post-election, you're putting all your money into whatever dip you spot that is worth the interest. So I did see a tweet this week where someone was dropping a great gem of, let me see if I can find it, pretty much stocks to buy depending on whether Trump wins or when Biden wins. So within Trump, they said good stocks to buy include Walmart, Lockheed Martin, Facebook, Twitter, Chase, Bank of America, and ExxonMobil. And they said that if Biden wins, stocks to buy would be gold, Tesla, energy transfer, things like that. What do you think about that? Is that real or reach?
I think it's a little bit of a reach for two reasons. One, Trump's been president for the last 4 years, and have those stocks shown record profits in this pandemic? No. Will
Not
Trump be
record,
able to
but
prove?
not record, but they've
No,
definitely
profit.
had profits. Like
But are they doing it, or are they riding the wave of the market? Because some stocks ride the wave of the market. What innovation has the Bank of America come out with this year that's made you say, you know what, that's who I'm banking with? Because I definitely changed my bank account this year.
Yeah, I think people go with Chase. I guess I was only thinking about Walmart and the energy companies. Like I know
No,
Walmart,
for sure.
But you're right.
think,
that has nothing to do with Trump. That's just their own business.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't foresee Trump changing the landscape for these companies. The thing that I would be paying attention to, if I had to pay attention to anything, would be how many of these companies make good on it? Like how much money of PPE funding that some of these companies take? How many of them have been looking for handouts? Because they're the ones that are going to be lobbying for this exponential change in growth. And furthermore, to my point, once again, if 240,000 more people die because Trump won, is this country even going to have a leg to stand on?
That's facts. That's facts.
So,
but I do think there'll still be some level of effect on, depending on which candidate wins, how certain stocks will be. Because if you think about it, under Trump's administration, a lot of the airline companies got bailouts. If you think about it, each president is going to have specific bills they're going to put out, and so it's going to be specific companies that are going to benefit the most off of it. So I think it still could be a good thing to kind of research what companies might gain from which president is winning. Because as you're voting, which you should, I feel like everyone should go out and vote. Why not also benefit off of it as well after putting your vote in too?
For sure.
And yeah, that's pretty much going in. Did you mention which ones your top two you're looking at or will be paying attention to, even if you're not invested in it?
AT&T and AMC.
Facts. For me, I love tech stocks, so I'm gonna be looking at Microsoft. I'm gonna be looking at AMD. I'm big on the whole chips, hardware chips and things like that. I might check out the summary of NXP and see what those other companies like. I also agree with Tariq about the whole e-commerce platform and digital gig economy. So I'll be looking at Fiverr, Etsy, Shopify. But another one I'm looking at also will be Chegg. I bought a couple shares of Chegg last week for a swing. I am up about 13 to 17%. So I might look to sell that on Monday before the earnings, because typically what I've seen is after earnings, a lot of stocks drop. People are either locking their profits or the company just didn't perform up to expectations. So that is something I might sell off. I might sell my Chegg on Monday before the earnings. That way I can secure my profits and just see what happens afterwards. I'm pretty much locked in on the positions I'm in, so I might not even make a trade outside on these, but it's something to definitely check in. And yeah, that is the week ahead. And we pretty much already talked about it, what are each of our members' picks. So I guess I'll go first again. I'll be selling off a lot of my swing positions, pretty much all of them in any positions I'm in right now, because the elections is literally a little bit over a week away. So that day is going to be huge, or it might have a delayed effect as they tallying the ballots. So I'm just going to be watching the earnings plays, still working and trying to figure out how these scanners and unusual options activity works. And just paying attention to certain stocks I might watch this, like Asana, Palantir, Snow, Netflix, Carvana, Beyond Meat, and DraftKings. Hero, he pretty much already said it, but I guess you can talk a little bit more about it, about waiting until after the elections.
If you're nervous, I'm going to say this. It's better to have your money and not have made a play and have money to make one than to have made a hesitation or I don't want to be out of the mix. Like one thing a lot of beginner stocks will do, they want to feel like they're making money. They want to feel like they're in the crowd, like they're winning. No. I think there's definitely room here for you to sit back and watch the world burn, because your marshmallow only tastes as good in the s'more as it is crispy on the edge. You don't need it burnt to the core, man. You don't need it burnt to the core.
Facts. That's pretty much called FOMO, fear of missing out. And a lot of people, I've actually been a victim of it before.
Yeah, Never chase.
Yep, never chase the bag. Let the bag come to you.
Yep.
But how about you, Tarek?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Hero. I've been waiting. I mean, it's been like about 3 weeks that I've just been in a cash position, and I've just been holding on. I still have my long-term stocks. So this dip came in, so I just went in, just bought a little bit, here and there. Mainly of PayPal. I will forever. I think PayPal will be one of the biggest industries in the next 10 years. Look at 20 years, I'm gonna keep it forever. But yeah, I'm with Hero. I've just been sitting on a cash position.
Facts. How about you, Kachif?
PayPal and my Microsoft options. Other than that, just chilling.
Facts. And that's pretty much our members' picks of the week. We did go a little bit over, but there's a lot of content that I hope that y'all really appreciated and learned from this. And I feel like it was a lot of important stuff that I feel like everyone needs to know or have going into this week. But yeah, so make sure, as always, to go like and follow our pages. We really appreciate those that listen. So thanks for those that are listening, and thanks for the guests that we have on today. This is the Trade Tribe, so make sure to share this with your friends and family. Whichever way you're watching or listening to this, follow us on social media at The Trade Tribe, and subscribe to us on YouTube and any podcast app or platform you're on. Besides that, good luck